everyone. My name is Rebecca Williamson. I'm the publisher of FierceBiotech, and I'm here today with Ariel Katz, co-founder of H1. Ariel, thanks so much for joining.
Happy to be here.
Before we begin, tell me a little bit about yourself and about your work with H1.
Sure. So I started H1 about 2 years ago with Ian Sachs, co-founder, a very good friend. About myself, I literally do two things in my life. I work all the time, and I love my wife, and that's who I am.
So tell me, what problems does H1 solve for biotech and pharma?
So what H1 is a database of every single healthcare professional in the world. Think about doctors, academic, nurses, chiropractors, and all of their professional, scholarly, and clinical activity, kept up to date every single day without a doctor needing to enter in one piece of information. Wow. It's about 8 million profiles, and it is incredibly useful for pharma, biotech, med device. When pharma, biotech, or med device are looking to bring a product to market, they need to start to talk about it, understand, communicate the clinical outcomes, the clinical benefits of that product before it's actually launched. You don't want to launch a product and no one knows about it. You want to launch a product and everyone can't wait because it actually cures prostate cancer and they believe in the clinical data. And so our data set is used by these pharma companies to help identify the institutions, the patient advocacy groups, the societies, the individuals they should be engaging with to educate them on the work that they're doing.
So how would you say H1 is disrupting the way that medical affairs and marketing are using data?
Every single medical science liaison at the pharma, biotech, med device companies that have signed up for H1 are logging into it every single time before they meet with a doctor. It's actually never existed. Yeah. You would have had to go to PubMed or clinicaltrials.gov or go to the recent conference website to learn about someone. It could take like 30 minutes. Now you just go in and type in that person's name. It's saving hours and hours, making them more informed about, I'm about to meet with this doctor. What did they just recently publish on? Oh, wow. Are they working with my competitors? Are they interested in our mechanism of action? Or what do they believe in? It's like what we all use LinkedIn for before every single meeting. Now MSLs or medical science liaisons are using H1.
Oh, very cool. Okay. So what do you think the future looks like in 2 to 5 years?
So it's easy for us, it's easy for me, I guess you as well, to think about the information and access we have in the US. If I typed in doctors near me on Google, primary care docs near me, you get 1 million. Yeah. And it's not super hard to see their patient ratings. It doesn't exist in most countries in the world, which is interesting. Yeah. In the US, you can't find out if someone's a good doctor. All you can see is if they have a good rating. Yeah. In the US, pharma spends about $30 billion a year funding doctors and healthcare organizations. So there's all these use cases in which the need for verifiable, accurate, comprehensive information about doctors and healthcare organizations is needed. We're sprinting as fast as we can to build that and solve all the use cases where that's needed. We think it's going to change the way that decisions are made by patients, by providers, by pharma, and so we're working really hard to get that and make that future a reality.
So switching gears a little bit, I heard H1 just introduced social media about doctors. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that.
It's actually really interesting. We innovated and we invented a technology to track any time a doctor's work is posted on social media. Oh. You wouldn't believe it, but when someone publishes a new, really breakthrough piece of research, it's not just spoken about by doctors and scientists. You have patients talking about it. You could have a patient's mom tweeting about it. You could have societies talking about it. You could have just the general public talking about it if it's interesting. Cancer is cured, like this recent article that came out where cancer decreased from 2018 to 2019 significantly. That was a peer-reviewed publication. Yeah. And so we built technology to track every single time a piece of a scientist's work is tracked on social media. And that's incredibly insightful, because if you're launching a product in rare disease, and the biggest problem is like educating patients, to them know about it, having it be diagnosed. You want to actually talk to the doctors that have the largest reach on social media. Sure. They're not followers on Twitter, but their work is talked about. Sure, yeah. And so this feature is used by pharma, biotech, med device, and the whole community to understand how do I reach the right group of people. And social media is just a new medium that exists today to do so.
Wow. Okay. So what is scholarly influence? Tell me about that.
We invented this new way of thinking about how do ideas originate in science. And where do they originate? So we were able to take a given peer-reviewed publication or a given concept, track where that originated, the individual, the lab, the institution, and show how that disseminates throughout the scientific community. By doing so, you can understand if I'm developing a product and I'm a biotech, I'm developing a product in bladder cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, who should I be working with? Which individuals, which labs, and how does that spread? If I'm a pharma company and I'm looking to launch a product, who should I be collaborating with? Who should be speaking at a conference, because they are the influencers in terms of disseminating scientific language throughout the community and the world. And so it's such a really neat way to understand the scientific community. We've been able to do so.
Interesting, really interesting. So before we sign off, if our viewers want to know more about you or about H1, where should they go?
Yeah, so I'm not so interesting because I am pretty much just H1, and as mentioned, I do two things with my life. If you want to learn more about me or about H1, I guess the one ask that I would have, if you're interested in helping at all, or if you're interested in getting involved, we want the most talented people who want to impact healthcare on a grand and broad scale. Email me. My email is ariel.katz@h1insights.com. If it's actually a good email and interesting, I will reply. Or you could go to h1insights.com, contact us, learn about us. We're excited to just talk to people in the community.
Oh, very cool. Well, that's all the time we have, but thanks so much for the conversation.
Thank you. It's great.